In today's world, colleges and universities collect a vast amount of data on student performance, metrics, alumni engagement, and financial information. Despite having access to so much data, many institutions find it hard to convert this raw information into meaningful insights that can support strategic planning and decision making. This challenge can be understood through three major issues. One, siloed information system. The first one, data in most institutions is stored across multiple departments with no centralized access. Student performance data in another, and alumni details at another. Because this information is fragmented, it becomes extremely difficult to get complete picture or perform any comprehensive analysis. This lack of integration prevents institutions from identifying patterns or making database improvements. This lack of integration patterns or making database improvements. Limited analytical capacity. E- Even when data is available, many institutions struggle
Sir, please excuse
with
me,
the
sir.
next level
Excuse me,
improvement.
sir. Excuse me, sir. Can you make it
Yes,
full
ma'am.
screen, sir? The content full screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, okay, sir. We will wait, sir. You can.
Is it visible now, ma'am?
It's visible, sir, but it is not full screen. Okay, sir. Fine. You can continue, sir.
Okay. The second step is limited analytical capacity. Even when data is available, many institutions struggle with next step analysis. Staff members often lack adequate training in data interpretation, visualization, and analytical tools. Without the right skills, they cannot extract actionable insights or make informed decisions from the available data. In other words, data exists, but the capability to use it effectively is limited. The third one is reactive rather than proactive approach. The third challenge is mindset. Most institutions tend to respond only when a problem arises, such as declining student performance or reduced enrollment. Instead of anticipating challenges through predictive analytics, they wait until an issue becomes serious. This reactive approach leads to lost opportunities and inefficiencies. Now, the cost of these challenges is significant. Without data informed decision making, institutions risk missing opportunities for growth, wasting resources on ineffective initiatives, and failing to adapt to changing student needs and market demands. Research clearly shows that organizations that use data effectively are 23 times more likely to acquire customers and 19 times more likely to be profitable. These principles apply just as much to education institutions as to businesses. So in summary, the message from this slide is that The institution must move beyond simply collecting data. They must learn to connect, analyze, and act on the data to create real strategic advantage. Let's move on to the next slide. Now that we see the challenges institutions face with data, let's look at why data really matters and what happens when decisions are made based only on intuition instead of evidence. Let's explore this through two key perspectives: the hidden price of guesswork and data advantage. When institutions rely purely on intuitions or assumptions, they face several serious problems. Without data to guide them, decisions often lead to misallocated resources, declining enrollment, and missed opportunities for student success. For instance, a university might invest heavily in a new program, believing it will attract more students. But without data to support that assumption, the program may fail to meet expectations, wasting both time and money. This kind of decision making doesn't just hurt finances, it also affects student retention, faculty morale, and institutional reputation. Next, the data advantage. It's on the other hand, data-informed institutions show clearly measurable benefits. They experience higher student retention rates, improved graduation outcomes, and more efficient use of resources. When decisions are based on solid evidence rather than instinct, institutions are able to reduce risk, increase accountability, and respond proactively to new challenges. In conclusion, the key message from this slide is that to data-informed strategies now allows institutions to make smarter, more sustainable, and more impactful choices, ultimately shaping a stronger and more successful future for higher education. Let's move on to the next slide. In this, we'll look at why data-driven decision making is essential in higher education and real cost of relying only on intuition or assumptions. We can understand this idea through two main perspectives: the hidden price of guesswork and the data advantage. Many institutions still make important decisions based on intuition, that is, on what feels right rather than what the data actually shows. This approach can lead to serious consequences. For instance, universities might misallocate funds to programs that don't meet student interest or fail to address declining enrollment because they don't have the right insights. When decisions are based on assumptions instead of evidence, institutions risk investing millions in initiatives that don't support their goals or meet student needs. And the impact doesn't stop at financial loss. Poor decision making affects many aspects of an institution. It can lead to lower student retention, decreased faculty morale, and even damage the university reputation. In other words, relying on guesswork is not just costly in money, it's costly in trust, performance, and long-term sustainability. Now let's look at the other side, the data advantage. What happens when institutions use data effectively? Data-informed universities show measurable improvements in almost every area. They have higher retention rates, better graduation outcomes, and make more efficient use of resources. Because decisions are based on real evidence, They can identify problems earlier, reduce risk, and increase accountability. Instead of reacting to issues after they occur, they can predict trends and plan proactively. Leading universities around the world now view data not just as an administrative necessity, but as a strategic asset. It helps them align academic goals with student needs, track performance, track performance accurately, and continuously improve the overall education experience. In conclusion, this slide reminds us that intuition may have its place, but in today's complex higher education environment, it's data that truly drives progress. Let's move on to the next one. Identifying key performance indicators that matter for institutional growth. In this slide, we'll talk about how institution can identify and focus on the key performance indicators or KPIs that truly drive growth and improvement. We know that not all metrics are created equal. In today's data-driven world, institutions collect a large amount of data, but the challenge lies in distinguishing between vanity metrics that looks impressive and meaningful indicators that actually drive real change. Effective data informed decision making depends on selecting the right KPIs that align closely with the institution mission, vision, and strategic objectives. Let's explore the four main categories of KPIs. The first one is enrollment health. Retail students. Key metrics include application, conversation rates by program and demographic yield rates, and enrollment fund efficiency, as well as net tuition revenue per student. Additionally, first year retention and persistent rates are vital. They reflect not only how many students join in the institution, but how many stay and succeed. Healthy enrollment metrics are a strong indicator of the institution's market relevance and appeal. Next, student success indicators. The second category looks at what happens about students enrolled, how well they progress and succeed. Important indicators include course completion and pass rates, time to degree completion, and graduate employment rates within 6 months of graduation, alumni satisfaction, and career advancement are also key factors, showing how effectively an institution supports its students beyond graduation. These metrics give insight into the quality of education and long-term impact of institution efforts on student outcomes. Next is financial sustainability. Every institution needs a strong financial foundation to support its academic mission. This involves tracking cost per student by program, revenue diversification ratios, and enrollment growth and utilization. Operational efficiency metrics are also essential, helping institutions ensure resources are used wisely while maintaining financial stability. Sustainable finances are what allow universities to innovate, invest in infrastructures, and expand student support services. Next is institutional effectiveness. Finally, institutional effectiveness focuses on the overall performance and accountability of the institution. This includes faculty research productivity, grant funding, student faculty engagement scores, community impact assessment, and accreditation compliance indicators. Together, these metrics provide a holistic view of how effectively the institution fulfills its academic and social responsibilities. The key takeaway of this: success doesn't come from tracking everything, but from tracking the right things. In summary, by identifying and measuring the right KPIs, those that reflect student success, financial health, and institutional effectiveness, universities can make informed decisions that ensure sustainable programs and long-term impact. Let's move on to it. The next slide is on the building a data-driven culture, overcoming resistance and fostering buy-in. I want to talk today about how we build a truly data-driven culture. One doesn't just collect data, but effectively uses it to improve our outcomes. This isn't just a technology initiative, it is a cultural shift. The image outlines four critical pillars for this shift. One is address fear and skepticism. The first hurdle is always human emotion and fear. Faculty and staff naturally worry that data will be used punitively. Our goal is to change that narrative. We must emphasize that data empowers rather than replaces. Professional judgment, it gives our expert better information to make even smarter decisions. We need to create safe spaces for learning, asking questions, and even for data to prove us wrong. Data should be a flashlight, not a hammer. It's invest in training. A data-driven culture is impossible without data literacy. It is not enough to just build dashboards. People need to know how to use them. We need to build data literacy across all levels of the organization. This means offering accessible workshops on interpreting reports, understanding key metrics, and most importantly, asking the right questions of the data. Data must be accessible. We will move away from complex spreadsheets and towards intuitive dashboards that make the necessary information easy to find and understand. Next is celebrity early wins. Momentum is crucial. People are more likely to buy in when they see tangible positive results. Let's actively share success stories where data led directly to positive outcomes, whether that's a new program that improved student experiences or the process change that boosted operational efficiency. We need to recognize and reward the department and teams that embrace evidence-based practices. Celebrating these early wins creates enthusiasm and shows everyone that this shift is valuable and achievable. Next would be embed in governance. For this culture to last, it can't be seen as a temporary project. It must become part of our organizational DNA. We need to integrate data reviews into our regular governance structure. This means making evidence-based decisions, making a core component of committee meetings and strategic planning sessions. The use of data should become a core institutional value, reflecting in our policies, procedures, and expectations. It should be the standard way we make decisions, not the exception. Let's move on to the next slide. It's essential metrics for institutional success. When we talk about moving forward, we have to agree on how we define success. This slide organizes our key metrics into three non-negotiable areas: one, student outcomes, financial health, and operational efficiency. The most successful institution track these metrics holistically because an improvement in one area always impacts the others. Let's talk about the student outcomes. Ultimately, this is our mission. These metrics measure our core promise to our students and the community. This is the immediate health check. Are we keeping our students engaged and moving them forward, them towards graduation? Or these are crucial measures of efficiency and effectiveness. We must ensure students complete their programs in a timely manner. Post-graduation employment outcomes. This is our external validation. Are graduates finding meaningful work and succeeding in their careers? Student satisfaction and engagement scores. These qualitative measures give us the student perspective on the quality of their experience. Next is financial health. A strong financial foundation is what enables us to deliver on our mission. If we aren't financially stable, we can't invest in our students. Revenue diversification ratios. We need to know how reliant we are on any single source of income. Like fusion, broader diversification means more stability. Net tuition revenue trends. This tracks the actual revenue we receive from students after scholarship and aid. Endowment performance and spending rates. How effectively are we managing and utilizing our long-term financial assets to support current and future operations? Operating margins and reserves. This tells us if we are running a sustainable enterprise and if we have a necessary cushion for unexpected challenges. Understanding the true cost of delivering education is vital for budgeting and identifying potential cost savings. Thirdly, operational efficiency. This category focuses on optimizing our resources to ensure every dollar we spend maximizes its impact on students. First, with faculty to student ratios, this helps us understand instructional bandwidth and the potential of personalized attention for students. Next, course fill rates and capacity utilization. Are we effectively scheduling our courses and using our instructional capacity? Low fill rates represent a huge opportunity cost. Administrative cost ratios. We must ensure our administrative overhead is lean and efficient so that more resources flow directly to the academic mission. Space utilization methods. Are we getting the most out of our physical assets, our classrooms, labs, and offices? Technology adoption and effectiveness. This measure how well we are using a tech stack to improve learning, research, and administrative process. Let us move on to the next. Data collecting strategies, integrating systems, and ensuring quality inputs. Our being data-driven is entirely dependent on the quality and accessibility of our source data. In the data, if the data is flawed, fragmented, or inaccessible, in the most sophisticated analytical will fail. The following four steps outline a strategy for ensuring we have reliable integrated data streams. First one would be audit current system. Before we integrate anything, we must understand our current landscape. We need to map all our existing data sources. This includes everything from our student information system and learning management platforms to our financial systems. The goal of this audit is to identify gaps, redundancies, and integration opportunities. Where is it? Establish data governance and trust in the data. We must create clear policies for data ownership, access, security, and quality standards. Everyone needs to know who is responsible for what. A key part of this is designated data stewards for each functional area. These individuals will be accountable for the accuracy and management of the data within their domain. This is how we ensure accountability. Invest in integration. This step is about making the data flow seamlessly across the institution. We will implement middleware or a data warehouse solution that connects our disparate systems. The goal is to create a single, unified source of truth. This investment will enable real-time data flows and crucially eliminate manual data entry everywhere possible, which is primary source of error. Validate and clean. Integration is just the start. Maintaining data quality is on ongoing discipline. We must establish regular data quality audits to proactively identify and fix errors. We will create validation rules and automated checks within our systems. For example, ensuring that a student ID is always in the correct format. Finally, we need to train staff on proper data entry protocol to prevent errors at the source. Quality inputs are essential. We must invest in data infrastructure before rushing to advanced analytics. Let's move on to the next slide. From numbers to insights, analytics frameworks that drive action. The ultimate goal of all data work is not just to have reports, but to create actionable insights. We achieve this by moving to a structured four-stage analytics framework. Each stage answers a progressively deeper question, moving from understanding the past to shaping the future. First, what is descriptive analytics? What happened? This is most basic level and it forms our foundation. Goal to understand historical trends. How this involves creating clear dashboards, reports, and visualization that summarize past data. Output, we use this to see pattern in enrollment, retention rates, and financial performance. It simply tells us the state of institution. Diagnostic analytics. Why did it happen? Once we know what happened, we need to know why. This is where the detective work begins. The goal is to dig deeper into root causes. How to use the tools like correlation analysis, cohort comparison, and drill down capabilities to investigate the factors that created the observed outcomes. Output, we identify the specific variable and conditions that explain variations in our key metrics, such as a drop in retention for the specific student group. Predictive analytics. What will happen? This stage uses the pattern from the past to forecast the future. The goal is to anticipate future outcomes and identify risk. We deploy machine learning models and statistical algorithms. The output of that, it allows us to forecast enrollment trends, identify at-risk students before they travel, and anticipate resource needs before problems emerge. This moves us from being reactive to proactive. Prescriptive analytics. What should we do? This is the most advanced and valuable stage, moving beyond prediction and recommendation. The goal is to generate actionable recommendations that inform strategic decisions. We use optimization algorithms and scenario modeling to weigh potential actions and their likely outcomes. The output is a result is a clear guide on resource allocation, program design, or intervention strategies that maximize our desired results. It tells us the optimal course of action. By consciously moving through these four stages, we transform raw data into a powerful tool that informs every strategic decision we make. Which area of the institution, student success, or financial planning should we apply this full four-stage framework to first? Let's move on to the next page. It is a case study increasing retention by 15% with analytical. I want to share a powerful real-world example of how a data-driven approach can transform institutional outcomes. This case study details how one mid-sized public university successfully increased its first to second year retention by 15% in just 2 years. The challenge is that the university was facing a serious problem. First to second year retention was declining, dropping from 78% to 71% over 3 years. The traditional interventions were failing. Leadership realized they needed a fundamentally new data-driven approach to reverse this trend. The data discovery, they didn't just look at the numbers, they performed deep data discovery using diagnostic analytics. This analysis revealed surprising specific patterns. Students were struggling most in gateway STEM courses. First generation students were facing significant financial uncertainty mid-semester. Engagement was dropping sharply after week 6 of the term. The target interventions, based on these precise insights, the university deployed a predictive analytics model to identify at-risk students by week 4 of the semester. This allowed them to move from broad general support to highly targeted interventions. They implemented proactive outreach that combined academic coaching with financial aid counseling. They established peer mentoring programs specifically designed to address the unique risk factors revealed by the data. The results were achieved, but the results were transformative and rapid. Retention surged from 71% to 86 within 2 years. The most significant improvement came from the 450 additional students supported who were flagged early by predictive model. This improvement created an estimated $2.7 million annual revenue impact due to preserved tuition revenue from improved persistence. The key takeaway is that universities move beyond just reporting to using predictive analytics to drive proactive precision intervention. They now apply this predictive analytics model across the entire student life cycle. Let's move on to the next slide. As we become more data driven, it is vital that we also become data wise. Data doesn't always speak the truth. Sometimes it misleads us. To ensure our decisions are sound, we must actively avoid these 5 common analytical pitfalls. One is confusing correlation with causation. This is perhaps the most frequent mistake. The pitfall. Just because 2 metrics move together, for example, higher ice cream sales and higher crime rates, doesn't mean one causes the other. The underlying factor is like warm weather. How are we to avoid this? We must always investigate an underlying mechanisms and consider confounding variables before drawing any conclusion about cause and effect. Correlation is a starting point, not an end point. Cherry picking favorable metrics. Our analysis must be objective and comprehensive. The pitfall in selecting only the data that supports our predetermined conclusions undermines objectivity and leads to biased outcomes. How to avoid this? We must establish our metrics before the analysis begins and commit to reporting all relevant findings, even when they challenge existing assumptions or tell a difficult story. Ignoring data quality issues. The fundamental principle here is garbage in and garbage out. The pitfall is missing data, inconsistent definitions across departments, or simple reporting errors can lead us to entirely flawed insights and bad decisions. How to avoid this? We need always access data quality and resolve issues before analysis begins. Remember data collection strategy. Data cleanliness is paramount. Over relying on averages. A single average number can hide enormous differences. The pitfall means values or simple averages can mask important variations within a student population or operational units. An average graduation rate might hide a huge performance gap between full-time and part-time students. We need to look to distributions, examine outliers, and segment our data. This helps us understand the full story behind the aggregate statistics, forgetting the human context. Data tells a great story, but it's rarely the full one. We believe that the numbers tell the whole story. Data can tell you what happened, but it often can't tell you why it happened. We must complement quantitative data with qualitative insights from students, faculty, and staff. Use survey, focus groups, and interviews to understand the human context and the why behind the what. Let's move on to the next slide. Creating a data-informed culture, training teams and establishing process. Building a data-informed culture requires more than just new software. It demands a deliberate investment in human capital, new workflows, and reinforced data-driven behaviors. We will focus on 4 key process areas to ensure this cultural evolution is successful. Key process for cultural change, higher training programs. We can apply a one-size-fits-all approach to data literacy. We develop a role-specific curriculum. Basic data literacy for all staff. Intermediate analysis for the department. Advanced statistical methods for the institutional research team. This ensures everyone gets the right training, regular data review cycle. We will institutionalize monthly dashboard reviews, quarterly deep dive sessions, and annual strategic planning that is directly informed by longitudinal trend analysis. Clear accountability, data-informed decision making must be tied to performance. We will assign data stewards for each major system, establish clear KPI owners, and most importantly, include data-informed decision making in performance evaluations. Innovation incentives. We need to reward staff who embrace this change and use data effectively. We will recognize and reward employees who use data to improve outcomes and create internal plans or funding streams for data-driven pilot programs. To truly be data-informed, our staff needs specific skills beyond just clicking on a report. Critical thinking, questioning assumptions and avoiding confirmation bias. Statistical literacy, understanding significance, correlation, causation, and margin of errors. Visualization skills, communicating complex insight through effective charts and dashboards. Ethical reasoning, considering privacy, equity, and unintended consequences to data use. Strategic application is to connect insights to institutional priorities and actions. Successful institutions combine technical expertise with subject matter knowledge. Our ideal data team must be cross-functional, including data scientists for advanced analytics, institutional researchers for context and compliance, IT professionals for infrastructure and integration, faculty and staff as domain experts. They understand the work best. Student affairs professionals for interpreting experience data. This multifaceted approach, covering process training and team structure, will ensure successfully build and sustain a truly data-informed culture. Our current resources, which are the four key processes to be prioritized launching our next 90 days. Next, let's move on. Right? It's building a data team, skills, roles, and structure. To truly leverage our data, we need a dedicated and skilled team with a clear structure. This slide outlines the key components necessary for building a high-performing data organization. Core roles. A modern data team requires type expertise, typically broken down into these four components. One data officer. This is the strategic leader. Their role is to set the data vision, ensure data strategy aligns perfectly with our institutional goals, and champion the data culture. Next, data engineers. These are the builders and maintainers. They construct and manage our data infrastructure, data pipelines, and integration systems, ensuring data flows reliably from source systems to our analytics environment. Data analysts. These are the reporters and insight generators. They are responsible for creating the reports, dashboards, and basic insights that operationalize data within the department. Data scientists. These are the innovators, the models, and create advanced analytical solutions, such as identifying risk, students, or forecasting future revenue. Efficiency skills. Regardless of the specific role, every member of the data team and those who interact with data should possess a set of core competencies: statistical, analysis, and research methods, and apply quantitative findings, data visualizing, and storytelling. The skill to communicate complex data, insights clearly, and comfortably to non-technical audiences. SQL and database management. The technical language necessary to retrieve and manipulate data. Programming for building automated process and advanced analytical models. Higher education domain knowledge. Understanding a specific context, student life cycle, and operational processes is crucial for effective analysis. Communication and collaboration. Essential for working with diverse stakeholders across the institution. Next, we move on to organizational models. How we structure the team within the institution impacts its effectiveness. A single data team serves the entire institution. This ensures consistency in definitions and standards, but it started with responsiveness to individual department needs. A hybrid model with a strong central teams setting standard and distributed analysis embedded in the departments. This balances consistency with local expertise. Analysts are fully placed with the specific departments Example, finance enrollment. This maximizes relevance to the department, mission, but this involves approaches and consistent data definitions across campuses. Considering our current resource and the scope of our goals, which of these three organizations models do you believe is the best fit for our institution right now? Let's move on to the last slide. It's the implementation roadmap, your 90-day plan for data-informed transformation. The journey to becoming a data-informed institution begins with a single, deliberate step. We must start small, demonstrate value, and build momentum through visible wins. This roadmap outlines the ambitious yet achievable three-phase plan for the next 90 days. Phase 1, that is from 1 to 30. The first 30 days are all about setting the stage and securing commitment. Stakeholder alignment. We will conduct focused interviews across departments to deeply understand pain points, data needs, and priorities. This ensures our efforts address real-world problems. Infrastructure audit. We will quickly audit existing data infrastructure to identify immediate needs and crucially identify quick wins. Small, easy projects that can deliver visible value, quantitative and governance. We must secure executive sponsorship and establish the data governance committee to oversee policies and accountability. Pilot training. We launched a basic data literacy pilot program with early adopters, those already enthusiastic about using data to build initial capacity. Phase 2, days 31 to 60, it's a building momentum. With the foundation set, the next 30 days are dedicated to delivering a first tangible product and showing value. Launched institutional dashboard. We will develop and launch our first institutional dashboard, making key strategic metrics immediately accessible to leadership. Data quality focus. We will begin data quality improvement initiatives in our highest priority areas, likely student outcomes, to ensure the dashboard data is trusted. Predictive pilot. We will launch our first predictive analytics pilot, focusing on a critical area like student success, celebrate wins. We must share initial insights and celebrate these early wins with the campus community to build widespread buy-in and enthusiasm. Next phase 3, 61 to 90, the scaling impact. So the final phase is about solidifying processes, expanding capability, and planning for long term. Expand and integrate. We will expand analytical capabilities to additional functional areas like finance or operations. Typically, we will integrate data reviews into regular decision-making processes and standing committee meetings. Long-term planning. We will finalize the hiring plan for our core data team positions like engineers, scientists, and analysts. board presentation, we will present a comprehensive data strategy and multi-year roadmap to the board trustees, securing the necessary resource and strategic buy-in for the future. This 90-year day plan moves us from assessment to action and sets us on a path for sustained data-informed transformation. This area for the predictive pilot in phase 2, student retention, of course, enrollment forecasting, should be selected as our top priority. Thank you, organizing team and EJ management for giving me an opportunity to share my views